jet is taking off.
We have liftoff.
Well, the Winnipeg Arena is all white.
It's a special night for Winnipeg, a special night for this entire province as the puck is dropped.
For Buffalo, cross ice for Ryan, scores!
Mark Scheifele gives the Jets the lead.
At the ticket to the Jets game today.
It clearly will be one of the best places to come and watch a National Hockey League game.
The Winnipeg Jets are proud to select from the USHL Youngstown, Kyle Connor.
Welcome back, Jets Fantasy Field Podcast, episode 5, where this episode is a little shout out to Gary Batman. Batman? Is
Batman?
it
Batman? Batman? I
Is
don't
it
know.
Batman?
I think or where are we going with Blair? Tell them why we're going with Batman.
We're going with Batman. We're going to be calling him Gary Batman today, commissioner of the NHL there. I think he does all the dirty work that he has to do to keep the league afloat, the things he's accomplished, the way the league has transformed. He took 24 teams into 31 now. Everything he's done from day one has showed that he's a gangster at heart. He's what the league needs. He's ripped off ESPN. They signed a huge contract and almost made them bankrupt. Everything he's done is for the league. He doesn't get the recognition he
No, but he gets the
there.
booze. And why?
What's up about that?
I don't know. I completely disagree with it. I think the fans need to stop this like ASAP. When you keep saying the dirty work, he's basically like that player who, was not afraid to go in the corner and go stand in front of the net and, screen that goalie. So he does all that dirty work for the league. Like you said, every decision that he makes is for the best interest of the league. I know he may have a bad reputation with may have a bad reputation with the fans, but like you said, when you summed it up, that every decision that he makes is for the league. Well, he does that with money in mind, right? And like money is what
he's a money man.
That's what I mean, right? And money makes the world go round, and I'm sure that the NHL is ruled by money. The amount of revenue that this man has increased this league since he has been. First off, another thing too, he's the first ever commissioner, because there was only a president in the NHL prior to this, and then he was the
1993,
first, right? And that's when he's held that position. And you're coming up close to 30 years now, so he's going to be He's probably going to be looking at retirement probably within the next 4 to 6 years. I'm going to put it that way. If he'll just work the 30 years.
Hopefully he can still shadow it.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope he still can. That would be really good for him. But back to the booing. I think the booing should completely stop. Blair, you were mentioning something about booing at the draft. Now, that's something I should have probably watched.
This is the first time I've seen. He's hinted a few times, but this is the first time where it was getting to the point where it's like, hey guys, we're trying to celebrate this draft. Everyone's moms and dads are here, their family. People are getting this special moment, and you just don't want that negative booing energy where it's like to a point where, yeah, it's not. I know it's not an actual boo. It's like, I don't even know why we're booing. We're just booing, kind of boo.
Yeah, I think they're just doing it to do it, right?
But it's where do we even start here? It's the way Gary Batman shut that down was ridiculous. He started realizing everything he said. He would just start talking. They would start booing. He's like, in his head, I don't know if he knew this before coming into it. I'm pretty sure he did with how he handled it.
Yeah.
Every time they'd start booing, he would bring up a legend. He'd be like, okay, by the way, fans, if you want to keep booing, we're going to bring up that we're here for Henrik and
Daniel Sedin, right?
Yeah.
So he's just like, why are you going to boo them now?
Yeah. So when you bring up certain names and certain prizes in the organization, you can't boo. So everyone stopped booing. So he would start talking and then talk for a bit, and they'd start booing, and then he would bring up another amazing person, and people would have to stop booing because they'd have to respect that person. You can't boo if you hear someone's name when someone talks about them. So that's the first time I've seen someone be able to handle a situation like he does. In the past, he's given the odd remarks, and he's said what he said, but when you put yourself in his shoes, it's like he's probably holding his tongue when he's just saying that, like, yo, I just put all this shit together, you don't even know what I did for you fans and you people, and now you're booing me still. So it's like, obviously he's taken it to heart to the point where it's like, he's flipped the table. Anytime you're starting to boo, he's gonna bring up, well, to think about how good McDavid is. A shout out for McDavid. So he'll just shout out every time you want to boo. He's gonna shout out now. Be like, hey, what do you think of Bergeron? How do you think Boston? You were a little hand out. We're gonna give a round of applause for Boston. How good they did last year.
Yes,
Whatever.
how
St. Louis,
Washington did
O'Reilly,
well.
whatever it is. But he's gonna bring out these names and he's gonna put an end to this booing. It's pretty funny how he's handling it, and that's why we have him as Batman. Who is his Robin?
John Daly. Yeah, John Daly is his right hand man all the time. So they're definitely a good team. Definitely a solid sidekick for him. Another thing
They're
too
so
that it didn't make it to my notes, but one thing I do praise him for, it looked bad at the beginning. I know a lot of players were very disappointed with it, but saying no to the Olympic participation. And just to understand like the spectrum of this, we just had Team Canada national team men's basketball, Kelly Olynyk, who also plays for the Miami Heat in the NBA, who went down with an injury. Now, if you're the Miami Heat owner, now this is where the confusion of an NHL owner comes in. What if your guy gets injured at the Olympics? This player in the NBA got injured at I believe a FIBA World Qualifying Tournament game, or maybe an Olympic Qualifying Tournament game. And you know, if you're gonna have superstar players go down like that, like let's say Nate McKinnon's gonna get called up, or Sidney Crosby or somebody gets injured in the Olympics, that's not gonna sit well with the fans. That's not going to sit well with
David Edmonton would be
pissed, right? They would be choked. And then, like, all the fans again would be choked. The owners would be choked, right? Kyle Connor. Think about that for a second. You know, representing Finland in one of those tournaments.
Yeah.
So I am 100% right behind Gary Bettman on withdrawing from the Olympic participation. I know that I'm ready to take the heat from some fans on that. I know you want to see some of your favorite players.
Mr. Q, we're calling him Gary Batman.
Oh, sorry, Gary Batman. Sorry, that's the first mistake of the show.
I'm hoping after listening to this episode, everyone's that's listening to this will just naturally call him Gary Batman. This is what we're pushing for.
There's a movement here now. There is a movement.
But Gary Batman movement.
No, but what else did you have about being behind this man? Because
I do. Before we get into my things, I'm gonna grab a beer. We're gonna be right back. Segment one's ending up here. On that note, we'll be right back. But the things he's done to help and make that happen, the contracts he's signed, the ESPN thing, the whole like Rogers is obviously plays out for itself. If you want to watch TV and you don't have cable, you have to buy it on Rogers package, which I can only get it to play on my Xbox, and it's frustrating sometimes. But he made it happen. So the only thing bad about watching the Rogers thing is they play the same commercial every time, and it looks like you're getting mad even listening to this, Keith. Any
true.
comments?
Like it's so repetitive. You almost like don't even know what to do. And when I've noticed on your Xbox here, when you stream it, the NHL just says commercial break in progress. I would honestly rather just watch that screen that says commercial break in progress than watch.
Dude, I used to think that, but like I miss commercials. Now that it's like I only get to see 5 of them. I wish like there was like 30 in the mix. It'd be more money for them when nothing's playing, but at least I would get to like see something like a shitty commercial that I don't look forward to, that I've seen 1,000 times, to a blank screen. I think they have work to do in that little segment with what's going on there, but obviously cable is different. But like I don't know anyone I know just rocks Cody. We just stream,
right? Yeah.
Netflix, whatever. We're not paying for cable. It's not ideal.
It's not cool anymore.
Well, the baby boomers got figured out. It's like, it's only 60 or 120 a month. Like, dude, that's like more than $1,000 a year.
Yeah, just for TV.
That's $10,000 in 10 years. That's a lot of money. So it adds
just
up
for
quick.
TV.
So streaming it, it's I'm losing train of thought here. Let's go back to there. The Rogers deal, the ESPN deal, and now that the whole NBC deal is coming to an end. It got signed about 10 years ago, and this is the last year it's in effect. So a little background on how the league works. There's a players association and basically the owners, and they have to make a middle segue of how much the players have to pay out of their own pocket to the league fees, to the escrow, and it gets a little stiff. So now that NBC is coming to an end, it's coming into some dark territories where you see Tavares signing for the contract he did. Is he gets, there's only $1 million that goes against their cap, and he gets all the rest of the money in cash. No matter if the league folds, if it plays or not, he's still getting paid. Panarin did the same thing. It's $1 million against New York's, and the owners are just putting up the money. It's a smart deal if you have a strong organization like Toronto or New York. You can afford to do that. Imagine if all these other teams could afford to do that. It's one day, hopefully, the league will get big enough. But as of now, NBC, how do you feel about it, Keither? Like, are we coming to an age where we know that contract wasn't ideal? Did NBC get the viewers? Did they get their money back from what they gave to the NHL? Hell's no. Gary Batman put it through for us. He put the Rogers deal. He put ESPN almost out of business. They put a lot of cool stuff on their TV too. So I'd be pretty unfortunate all the random games they have, and they have a really good market. It's just they gave way too much money to the league. So who could potentially be our next signing in if that deal falls through and there is a slight lockout? By the way, if you haven't heard, it's not going to be this year. Negotiations will happen and probably won't happen until the end of next year. And so coming into this year, it's kind of a scary path where like there's nothing signed, there's no really progress in it. Yeah, I think I do have faith in Gary Batman. That's why this episode's called Gary Batman. But who do you think out there, just top of the head, like name a TV company or organization that would take the NHL rights?
I think Comcast could take it. They're a big
in the U.S. Rogers
US.
has Canada.
Yeah, Rogers has Canada for the next 12 years. I think they're 5 or 6 years now into that deal. So I know that.
No, I think it was only 5. So they're probably like 3 left or whatever. I think they were testing her out last time I checked, but it might be longer.
Yeah, because I know that TSN we really had to bite the bullet there with losing that deal to Rogers, that they had to create 5 new feeds. Now, I don't understand what's the point in creating 5 new feeds if each 5 of these feeds are going to be playing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It totally defeats the purpose of having 5 feeds. Like, I love going onto my guide and seeing Sports Center, Sports Center, Sports Center, Sports Center, Sports Center, and it's the exact same person on channel 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like, what they should do with that deal.
It's a sweet package.
Yeah, it's a great
Sign
package.
me up.
Thank you, TS. You know, this is getting off topic because now we're getting into TSN.
No, do it. I want to hear your TV rant here.
Why wouldn't you make all 5 feeds available to everybody in the country and have each feed or each channel playing something different, so that way you have happy viewers?
How many
in
games
the
are
entire
there a
country?
night?
Thank you very much.
How many Canadian teams do I want to see a night? All of them.
And you can make your entire country happy from territory to territory, from province to province, from coast to coast.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they don't see it that way.
No.
But when you say a network in America, I think Comcast could take it. Do I think NBC has a chance? I think NBC is trying to prove themselves.
Dude, they already lost money. That's where I'm coming from.
And I think they might.
I don't think they're going to resign.
I don't know what it is, but these last few years they've really tried to improve, like, let's say, like their coverage from, like, you know how, like,
Pierre McGuire scared everyone away.
I know.
I don't even watch. Literally, I have NHL. I've watched the app for years, where it's on my Rogers, my Xbox, and I don't watch the games where NBC streams, because he's the one that does. I can't stand him.
A lot of people can't.
Literally,
a lot of people
everything
in Canada
he says,
were happy
his
that
voice,
he
everything.
left, right?
It's not good for business. So the fact that I have to turn my Xbox off, watch my computer on a little screen to not listen to fucking Pierre McGuire is a lot. Like that's downgrading from a 60-inch to whatever, a 14-inch to not hear this motherfucker. Like,
I totally agree.
I could
with
get
you
that
on
adapter, but I'm old.
Yeah, Pierre McGuire, you know, I wasn't a fan with him when he was with TSN here in Canada. Don't understand how he got a job with such an American network.
Did you ever cross paths?
I haven't crossed paths with him at all, no. But let's say he wasn't at the helm for NBC. The way I've seen NBC try to improve these last few years, it seems like they want to at least maybe get some hope of a deal. When you say losing the money, I think that's always going to play a huge factor here. I don't think they have much of a chance in securing that long of a deal, even if a deal for that matter. But Comcast, I can see really taking over that deal. When you keep saying ESPN almost went bankrupt, yeah, I know, it's crazy. Like, when was the last time you saw any hockey coverage on ESPN other than highlights?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they're even going to want to enter that fight, right? To even try to get those rights. No,
they got to recover before. Like, it'll be another whatever. I don't think they'll go down that road again.
No.
Our Batman's going to ask for too much, and someone's going to come along at an opportunity and maybe make it work. It's maybe the advertising, the showtimes, whatever it is. It's not signing a 10-year deal, and in your most important deals, where if people are like, okay, is this going to work out? Are we going to watch? You get Pierre McGuire, and nobody wants to listen to your shit.
Nobody.
So I think Comcast, Apple, I don't care. I don't even know if Apple could buy it. I just like Apple.
Yeah, because they're big enough, though, right? They probably have the funds to really
Netflix.
Netflix
What if
could.
Netflix got it, man?
A shout out to my little brother. He said YouTube TV might probably
YouTube,
will take over
honestly,
everything, and you saw that with
dude,
the NBA Finals. They're their biggest sponsor.
Dude, if YouTube could take it over, that's where I get most of my streams from. Anyways, like they're the best platform. They if YouTube could take NHL over, Batman would win again.
Again, he would. He would continue.
They would pay
to
him,
win.
and NHL would be afloat again. Doesn't no one realized this dude, man. Gary Batman behind the scenes doing all this shit, getting booed, man. Nobody sees the stuff he does. Like
no.
he's one he's went to school for law. He knows how the system works. He thinks ahead of the play. He knows those deals weren't good, but he's getting people paid. So I'm not saying it's like a moral thing. It's more so like I'm glad Batman's on our side.
It's a business standpoint. I mean, like business is business, and this guy's all about making money. And you talked about like he's a lawyer, right? He did spend some time. He spent his formative years with the NBA, the National Basketball Association, in their legal and marketing departments, and he rose to the ranks pretty quickly. Reading this on his Wikipedia, he rose to third in command super fast. I was like, dude. Like, you got to go through, like, 20 years, like, 20 as second in command, right? Before he probably would have jumped that and made commissioner.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was doing such good work for the NBA, and even the soft salary cap that he implemented is still being used in the league today.
And what does he know about basketball? I don't know. All I know is Gary Batman knows how markets work. How can we market? How can we guarantee our payment? How can we guarantee our players' fund? How can we build the league? How can we keep getting better?
How can we make money?
Yes.
Right?
And it doesn't matter if you played hockey your whole life. Stevie Y just signed for Detroit's GM again. So huge for the company. But as a standpoint of marketing, if I was to put like Stevie Y or Gary Batman in that position of commissioner of the league, maybe Stevie Y, I'm just calling it now, he'll probably down the road be our new commissioner. Calling it now. You heard it here on Jets Fantasy View.
No, you heard it here.
But it's the difference of it's more so he's just such a businessman. He looks at the business point of view. Pizza's here, boy.
All right, put that on
boys.
Pause.
All right, here we'll be right back here. Segment 2 outie. We'll be back for 3.
Jets Fantasy Fuel Podcast, segment 3 here. Filling up on some some pan crust there. Came at a good time.
Shout out to Domino's.
I guess, if you want to shout out to
Delivery under 20 minutes, keeping it real.
That came quicker than expected.
I did
thought we
a lot
had
faster.
A little more time to do that segment. But let's jump back in here.
Right into our man, Gary Batman. Gary Batman.
It just sounds good.
Yeah, well, he's a stealthy guy, and now I got to stick with it, and hopefully the movement starts the same way that the booing ends.
And to start, I guess, our argument, we didn't even get into the fact that he was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Shout out to that.
November 2018,
right? Just last year. So really happy to see him.
We're not the only ones that think this, clearly.
No, he deserved it. I think he's done a huge amounts of behind-the-scenes work for this league.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just think...
You were talking about him saving those Canadian teams.
Yeah, this guy brought in a revenue sharing plan at one point that saw American teams take some of their revenue and had to give it to Canadian teams and allocate those funds to help Canadian teams stay afloat. Now, if you're booing because this guy doesn't bring hockey back to North America, well, let that be an eye-opener for you. If he had to implement a plan that American teams who profit more than they should, or more than, the average team, had to share. I mean, they say sharing is caring. Well, the guy clearly cares about your Canadian teams. And he's doing you a favor by doing that and implementing that allocation of funds to keep Canadian teams afloat. When I read that today, I was just like, I was deeply moved.
The only thing,
right?
I guess, why I'm going to go back, it's been all rainbows, this podcast about Gary Batman. The only downfall we've had about him moving teams, the whole him moving Quebec, a lot of people boo him around here for it. They're very sensitive about their hockey down
there.
But
the team is thriving in Colorado, right?
Yes. So it's not the worst trade. It's more so like we get to 35 teams because Quebec could definitely sell out. Montreal's there. They have to make the drive. If they had one in the heart of Quebec, that's how Quebec is. The Quebec League, the QMHA.
The QMJHL.
Yeah, that hockey's ridiculous, and that's all they watch there. So if they had just one NHL team there, it's an excuse to people to go see the land. Mount Tremblant, it's actually beautiful there, and people don't realize it. Yeah, the driving's a bit crazy, but
But hey, you know what? For NHL hockey, they'll do it. People drive in from Brandon to come see the Jets.
Yeah, and there's a low rate occurrence as well. Like the whole that he's bringing teams to the southern U.S. It's not just the northern U.S. It's all the southern U.S. is where he's bringing these teams. Heavy California, San Jose, all around that area too. It has worked out, but the biggest downfall, I want to get back to my point here, is the Jets leaving to Phoenix in 1996. We got back the shitty Atlanta Thrashers. I would have rather had Phoenix back.
Well, we missed that sale by 4 minutes, according to all of the press releases that were out, and including to what says on the Jets Wikipedia when they were trying to make that deal work. They missed the Arizona Coyotes by 4 minutes before they sold to the city of Glendale.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you imagine that if the Jets left and came back to the same city that they left from? Like, that would be huge. The city would have gone nuts, more nuts than they already did when the Thrashers arrived back.
Yeah.
I don't think that this team, the Winnipeg Jets, should have not ever left. I don't know if the league was in any standpoint at that time. They left in 96. He was only 3 years into this position as commissioner. And then to have a team being purchased from
But that's what he was doing. He was sending these teams down to that area. And that's why he got booed a lot. Quebec doesn't like him. Winnipeg didn't like him. So it's become this overall just hurt point where it's like, yeah, in his earlier years, that's nothing that I want to condone. This is stuff I'm bringing up to be a little less biased.
Yeah.
Gary Batman is called Batman because of the stuff he's done with the marketing, the recent years. Him moving the Winnipeg Jets team it doesn't make sense. Him moving Quebec. You sell out. That's all us Canadians have to do. There's nothing to do here except that. U.S., you can do anything. They sell out basketball, baseball, like their tickets. You look at Florida this year. Florida, we've become this problem that it's like we're lucky we made that rule. The whole league supports each other because Florida would sink if that wasn't a rule. That's coming into Jets tickets. That's coming into everyone that sells out has to pay a piece into the Florida tickets because they're not selling out. It's not fair for the league to the point where it's like, is that not looked at that, yeah, Gary Batman's done tons of amazing stuff, but like, I don't know the paperwork. I know it takes a while, the owners, whatever, if they even want to sell, but to get Florida back to Canada, I think, before Jets came here, I remember growing up that the whole hype was, Hamilton is going to get the team.
Yes, with Balsillie, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and that got shut down.
Yeah, a main reason why Gary Batman, another unwritten code, that guy's a douchebag. He was saying it how it was. He thought he could just throw his money at every problem without actually putting any respect, dignity, love, everything. He was just going to throw money at his problems, which, at the end of the day, Gary Batman, as a money man, was like, you know what? The league's more than that. And that's when the league started being, a little more, we're going to be a good vision for everyone. We're going to do the things that a community needs to do to, like, I'm looking for this one word, and I know you would know what it is. Role model.
Model, yeah.
For everyone. And I think him being in the league, it didn't make sense. So it went to the Jets. And I'm not saying it shouldn't have happened, because the Jets definitely deserve a team. I just wish the Jets could I don't know if there wasn't enough money at the time, just to start a new team, kind of like Vegas did, get some picks, start from fresh. Said they got the butcher lip from Atlanta. They didn't get Kovalchuk. He went to Russia.
Sure, yeah.
So, it just didn't really ideally work out the way I wanted it to the point where I was like, if Hamilton got that team, whatever, Jets would have got one in the next couple of years. It would have went there before anywhere else.
Anywhere else, yeah.
So, I think definitely in the next upcoming, we're seeing 33, 34. You heard it here first on Jets Fantasy Field podcast. There's going to be a team in Quebec. There has to be a team.
There has to be. And I personally thought that, Arizona or Florida would have ended up there by now, but when you reminded me of, the league implementing that rule where everybody supports each other,
yeah,
like you said, it's almost like Quebec's just going to get an expansion team, and Hamilton will probably just get an expansion team. It doesn't seem that Gary Bettman wants to move any other markets.
Toronto gave them permission too. Like, it's basically taking jersey numbers, whatever you want to call it. Like, there's so many people in Toronto that won't affect their market. It comes to a place where I grew up, hour and a half from Toronto. You want to go to a game, you have to deal with the traffic, amazing hot dogs, everything's sweet when you get there, but the parking's expensive, getting down there, the traffic, it's like you almost want to leave the game early, a couple of minutes early to get beat that traffic, and it sucks doing that. So like to have a team in Hamilton to, from I'm in the Fergus area, Guelph, Kitchener, Cambridge, everywhere around there could just go to Hamilton. You don't have to deal with as much traffic. You don't have to deal with, staying the night or, the drinking and driving is a huge thing with going to games in Toronto. It's not good.
And nowhere's close in Toronto. Like,
No.
if someone, like, people from Mississauga are going to go to a game in Toronto, and, that's not a close distance.
No.
For them, I guess...
And let's be real, we're not talking that everyone's a saint here.
No,
you can tell people are over drinking, they're driving home, whatever it is.
Whatever
so like,
it is,
to have another, a couple cities in Canada having more teams would cut back on that. So, well, MADD, shout out.
Shout out,
there's
right?
so many reasons that we have to have more Canadian teams.
The love is there too. When you talked about things like when Valsilli wants to just throw money at his problems and the league backed away because it's like, well, there's no love, there's no respect.
Yeah.
Well, there's love in Quebec. There's love in Hamilton. I get it. And maybe at that time, fans may not agree with what I'm about to say here. Maybe it just wasn't profitable at that time. And it seems as, months and years go by, economies grow, economies become stronger, cities learn how to thrive off, other things first in their sports and hospitality and their entertainment district, right? So I think it's there. I just don't think Batman wants to rush into it, right? And I know he's taken a lot of heat from fans from taking away the game from Canadian markets, but he's grown the game in North America substantially.
The things he's done don't really outweigh the things he's done bad.
Exactly.
And I think the things that he's done bad don't really have a footprint in the NHL, as in, he took a few teams away from here where he probably shouldn't have from Canada. I want a few teams back. We're going to look at some new teams coming here in the future. But at the end of the day, what he's done with the whole signing of everything, I think he's taken the league to a point now where it's like it's idiot proof. There's going to be teams in Canada. There's no doubt about that. It's more so the expansion, other teams letting teams in. It's a slow process because people take away picks. The team that's coming in takes your best player. So all these owners don't want this happening all the time because you can't afford to lose 3 of your best players in 4 years. That's why it's a longer process. It's going to be a 10, 12-year process where these Canadian teams come in. But eventually, the direction the league's going is good. I'm just worried about the whole Gary Batman asking too much for the league, watching out for the boys. And I don't know who's going to sign this next contract, but I hope it's a company that will hopefully grow the league too. We're not just talking NBC hiring people. I don't want to talk about again Pierre Maguire. You got to hire some better people. There's tons of people that want jobs out there that are way more respectable and actually know what they're talking about. So it's going to be nice to see them.
I agree with you on that, Blair. No, seriously, there are a ton of talented people out there who want a job and who don't have a job because there's some guys here who are just,
it's hard to watch. Where I've heard a lot of good hockey talks on TV. I watched a lot of games, and there's some good announcers out there. Let's get some of these people in there. It's time for the NHL to take a huge shift in momentum. The cap's going up, the hype's there, the players the players are getting good, the league's
Everything's
getting
changing.
Better. The shootouts, it's more exciting.
Yeah.
We've got Finland, everyone. We got games in China now. We got
yes,
all this.
the global series in China where you saw Boston and LA go there last year. That was huge.
Well,
was it LA and San Jose? I'm sorry if it was Boston, but no, having those global series in China and Finland, it's going to be exciting.
Everyone lost their shit when Barkov and Laine was playing. It was just the whole team. They basically, ever since Batman has been a part of this, the NHL footprint has reached locations outside of North America, Australia, China, Czech,
Let's not forget
England,
about
Finland, Kenya, Germany,
Japan,
Latvia, Northern Ireland, Russia, Slovakia, Sweden, Switzerland. It's come to the point where it's worldwide now. It's not a secret. Hockey is the best sport on ice. It's the fastest game. There's no debate about it. People want to see it. People want to watch it. Let's get it out there, YouTube.
Yes, no kidding.
You heard it here. YouTube signing the next contract.
They have to. And it's going to be a mainstream thing, and it probably won't be too pricey for fans. Another thing he's bringing back this year, and I'm a huge fan of it, he's bringing back the glow puck. I am very excited about that because a lot of American fans, when he was starting to grow the game there, Americans were saying that, okay, well, we can't see the puck.
Yeah.
Well, then he implemented the glow puck, and they're bringing it back now, and I think it's going to be great.
Probably. He's like, oh, fucking glow puck.
Yeah, no, but I think it's I'm really is that really following through this year? Because I think it is. I hope that's a real deal, and I'm eager to see that on the screen this year.
Well, and the whole like him taking the game to outdoor rinks, like he introduced everything to do with selling numbers. The amount of people they can get in a stadium outside is almost double what they can fit in an NHL arena.
And they have like 5 outdoor games, right?
The special jerseys, I know, like for any team I've cheered for, it's the jerseys you can get is ridiculous for the outside games. Like they go full in. It's a huge broadcast to the point where even if the NHL took a lockout, they would still have 4 winter games with people being like, "We'll give you this much money to do these games because we want the advertising. We want the whole like." So it wouldn't
the
be
country watches it, right? Our country does, and the USA watches it. Everybody pays attention to those games. That they're at
and
big
that's
important
not too
dates.
far away. We're talking 2003. It was the first Heritage game classic outside 2003. You think with everything they have, marketing, smartness, everyone that's been involved in the league, you think that would have happened 20, 50 years ago. We're talking 2003 is the first outdoor game where people are advertising. They're watching it. It's the game's just evolving to the point where we have to go back, and a little shout out to Gary Batman.
And you see college games as well. College teams starting to play outdoor games, and we saw at Buffalo at the World Juniors. I don't know if it was 2017 or 2018.
Mm-hmm.
They tried playing a game outside, but it was just snowing way too much, and they just won't do that again. But you see a lot of
it's hard to plan.
It is hard,
too, right?
yeah.
Like, it would suck taking time off work, going to a game, and there's too much snow, but. There's going to be, they'll figure that stuff out. Whatever it is, that's what makes it so pure and natural too. That the fact that, it's not even snowing today, we're outside. Like the beauty of moments when the games can happen when they can is, I think, it outweighs the cons of the odd time where it might snow too much, whatever it is. I know there are a few games last year where like they just couldn't move the puck around as much, but that's what we grew up with. We were playing bunk our whole lives. Like the people that can do that, it's always the Canadian players. That's
players who
why
know
on the
how to play
outdoor
that, right?
games,
Exactly.
like, they know how to score. They know how the puck works. They know the little tricks. Like it's funny to watch the Canadians go play out there because like they know what's good there.
And that's how they grew up. I like how you said that. It's how we grew up playing here, and they're not afraid of that type of hockey. But this guy has done wonders for the league. I'm excited to see what else he's going to do.
Yeah.
This year is going to. He's been there for almost 30 years, and he's coming to the end now.
Yeah,
he's really coming to the end.
Just like a little, like let's give him a little more praise though. These boos, like it's just hard to watch. Like,
it is
going
hard
to
to
the
watch.
Details of everything. He's moved a couple teams, but at the end of the day, he's done a pretty good job. So Gary Batman is who I'd like to shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Gary Batman, and I hope the movement starts and it sticks and the booing stops.
Yeah. All right, we're out for now. Jets Fantasy Football Podcast, Player in the Air.
Keith McKnight, we'll see you again.
Cheers.